Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my February wrap up, so sharing with you all of the books that I've read this month. Compared to last month, I really haven't got that much reading done this month, so I've got 4 books to talk about today, but pretty much I kind of ended up in a bit of a reading slump, and I think it's just because I've been really busy. I've just finished a 3-week practicum, so when you're training to be a teacher you do practicums, which is just when you're placed in a classroom like a student teacher. So I've been student teaching at a school for the past 3 weeks and it was our first one, so that was really awesome, but I think it's really, I don't know, it's taken a lot. Like, I get home afterwards and I just have so much other stuff that I have to do that by the time I finish that I don't really feel like reading that much, or that has been the case for most of that time. There was a book at the end that kind of has broken me out of that slump a little bit, but I'm really gonna have to think about like what I feel like reading in March to not have myself in a slump again. I was reading Skullduggery Pleasant for a lot of the month. It was the first book in that series. I've never read the series before and I thought I would give it a go, but I think it's really just not for me, or especially it's not for me at the moment. I just couldn't get into it, and I got about halfway and I decided to DNF it because I just wasn't feeling it, and I think it was holding me back. Sorry about the airplane in the background. It was holding me back from reading because that was the book I was reading and I didn't really like feel like it each day, so I just wasn't getting any reading done. I'm still currently listening to the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I'm kind of like nearly towards the end. I think I've only got a couple hours of that audiobook left, so I will be finishing that up, but I've been more into music in my car and stuff this month, so yeah, that's been a little slow for me to get through as well. I love it though. I love the narration in the audiobook. It's awesome. I'm also currently still reading North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. That has been really slow going for me, and I think for that one it's because I've got it in ebook form from the library because they didn't have a physical copy, and I just don't, just reading ebooks is not my preference, so I haven't been reaching for that one that much. I am really enjoying it though, and I'm also currently reading Nevermore, which I started just within the last couple days, so I'm enjoying that one so far as well. As usual, I'm going to be going through the books that I have finished this month in order from my least favourite to my most favourite, and there were 2 5-star books this month, which is amazing, so that's like 50% of the books I read this month were 5 stars. The first book though is a 2-star read, and that was Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney. This is a middle grade book. It's a really popular series, so a lot of you guys might have heard of this already, but it's pretty much just about a kid who is starting high school, and it's his diary, so he's just written it. It looks like a notebook, and he's got a bunch of illustrations in it as well. I really like the journal kind of format, especially for middle grade books. I think it's really cool, and I liked that it incorporated cartoons too. However, the reason I ended up giving it 2 stars was that the main character is just a jerk. He's really negative and really mean, even like to his friends and stuff. He's just got a really bad attitude, so I just couldn't stand that, so didn't really enjoy this book that much. I didn't have any 3-star reads this month, but my 4-star read of the month was The 13-Story Treehouse, which is by Andy Griffiths and it's illustrated by Terry Denton. This is another middle grade type of book. It has a lot of illustrations like so, and basically it's a really interesting story. I was really surprised by this one, and as you can tell by the 4-star rating, I ended up really enjoying it a lot. So pretty much it's about 2 people called Andy and Terry, so they've kind of based it on themselves, because the plot of this story is that Andy and Terry are meant to be writing a book, and their deadline is right there, and they haven't written anything yet, or haven't illustrated anything yet in Terry's case, and they're panicking about what their book should be about. But as so happens, they live in a 13-story treehouse, and they end up just deciding to write about the adventures that they've had in their treehouse lately, because some crazy stuff happens there. There's like sharks and there's cats that turn into canaries. It's just the craziest thing. Because of that, it was probably like one of the most ridiculous like funny books that I've ever read. It was also kind of metafictional because it's self-consciously a book. Like, Andy and Terry wrote it about themselves and the process of writing, obviously in like a funny fictional kind of way, but it's still really self-consciously written. I found that really interesting for middle grade. It's something that's really unusual. The illustrations as well I found really added to the story. They were hilarious, and there were just certain things that came up that were really unexpected for me that I just found really funny. So I highly recommend this if you haven't checked out the 13 Story Treehouse. I believe it's a series. Definitely pick it up if you're in the mood for a laugh. Finally, moving on to my 5-star reads for the month. There were 2 of them, and both of them I have done full spoiler-free reviews on, so I will link them in the info box down below as usual. So if you want to know more about these books, you can check out my reviews. The first one is an adult thriller sort of novel. It is See You in September by Charity Norman, who is a New Zealand author, which is awesome. I always love to read books by local authors to me. This one is about a woman. She's from England. She is, I think it's England, somewhere in the UK, and she's traveling with her boyfriend. They end up coming to New Zealand to visit, and they end up getting separated. So the woman gets into a van with these people that seem really nice. They kind of look like hippies, and they invite her to come stay with them in their little community. They live in the middle of a valley near Rotorua in New Zealand, and she thinks why not, might as well stay with them for the night because it's free, it'll save her a bit of money. And they are essentially a cult, which she doesn't realise at the time, but it starts to become clearer throughout the novel. I just loved this book so much. It was so good. It's really, really convincing. It also follows a bit from her mother's perspective back in the UK, trying to figure out why her daughter has stopped talking to them and stuff like that. So it was really, really good, and I highly recommend it if it sounds interesting to you. My final 5-star read for the month is one that I just put up a review of earlier this week, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel, and it is just the most adorable book that I have ever read, probably. It's my favourite book that I've read so far this year. It's fantastic. It's just about 2 boys that meet in high school. They are made to sit next to one another, and one of them develops a crush on the other one, but he thinks that this guy is definitely not interested. I highly recommend it. It's adorable. If you want to know more about it, like I said, those reviews will be linked down below. So that is it for all of the books that I read this month. If you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you're going to be picking any of these up, let me know that as well. And also tell me what you guys have been reading this month. And yeah, I'll see you with another video in a couple of days. Bye.